Debbie Stabenow, we can't wait till 2012. As a Tea Party, one of the things that I want to challenge you to do, to think about putting on your agenda, is the ability. Think about what would have happened with health care if you knew you didn't have to wait till November or till 2012. Think about putting on this on your agenda. The ability to recall federally elected representatives and senators. Think about it.
All right, the next question is for Sheriff Bouchard. For Sheriff Bouchard, come on up here.
Thanks, Frank. My question, now that Mike Cox is here, I want to address this to Sheriff Bouchard. My name is Brian Pannebecker. I was the Macomb County MCRI chairman in 2006. I campaigned strongly for Prop 2. There were only, like Mike said in his initial remarks, there were only 2 politicians that I remember that came out on principle and supported Prop 2. Mike Cox was one of them, and Brooks Patterson in Oakland County was the other. You and our last gubernatorial nominee, Dick DeVos, took a politically correct stance and came out against Prop 2, and I was disgusted by it. Now, coincidentally, my son's a senior in high school this year, Sheriff. He applied to Michigan, he applied to Ferris, he applied to Wayne State, and he's a white kid, obviously. He was accepted by U of M, but he only had a 28 ACT. He only had a 3.8 GPA. He was borderline. Matter of fact, we got a defer letter, and then a few days later got the acceptance letter at U of M. He was accepted, but barely.
Could I fast forward you to the question?
The question is this. If my son would have been subject to racial preferences, which you supported, he probably wouldn't have been accepted by U of M. How do you defend your stance that it's okay to discriminate against kids who are applying to get into college based on their race and not allow them to be judged on the merit of their ability and their test scores?
Very easily. First, I didn't and don't support racial preferences. You've had your time, now it's my time.
Yep, I've got the quotes right.
Good. Here's the reality. I have a voting record against racial preferences in the Senate and have always opposed and will continue to oppose it. When they brought the language to me, they had already finished. I said to them at the time, if you can change one sentence that dealt with any kind of gender cannot be allowed for certain determination. I am a big believer in single-sex public school as an option. I believe in all boys schools and all girls schools should be a parent's option for a lot of reasons. And a number of lawyers and judges came to me and said, based on that language, they thought a single-sex public academy, which I was supportive of, would be closed. And I said at the time to the originator of the thing, if you can change that one sentence, I'm 100% on board. And they said it was too late on the language. And I said, for that reason only, I can't support it because I don't want to close these all-boy or all-female academies. But I have voted against it. I've got a clear record. And that's the reality of it. You can characterize it any way you'd like, but the reality is I oppose racial preferences. I always have and always will.
Cox. Go ahead, David.
Hi. I'm here tonight probably for the same reason everybody else is. I'm sick of being ignored. And I've signed many petitions. And our current governor sees fit to allow the canvassing board to take valid signatures and not put it to the vote. And I just want to know what your stance is. How are you going to prevent that type of thing from ever happening on our canvassing boards again?
Okay. Well, I'm a big believer in the use of the initiative and referendum, as was just a perfect example, as we talked about earlier, was Michigan Civil Rights Initiative, which one spurned would-be candidate to the University of Michigan, Jennifer Gratz, in 1996, started a fight that went all the way to the United States Supreme Court, didn't get satisfaction, and she came back, used the Citizens Initiative, got shut down the first time by the Board of Canvassers, came back, was got it by the Board of Canvassers, and the people voted on it. So I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer in the initiative. I'm against these efforts that you see around the state to limit your ability to recall local officials. You see that pending in the legislature. And like I said, when the legislature isn't responding to regular citizens, the initiative and referendum allows that. And that's what happened with Jennifer Gratz. And incidentally, next year, even though MCRI passed, next year my daughter's going to go to a single-sex high school. And they didn't stop at all, the choices my wife and I made, and there's not been one single-sex school closed in Michigan, from MCRI being passed. Thank you.
Next question for Dr. George. Who's got the next question? Can you get over there, Ken or Dave? I got one over here. Hold it. Now we got it up here, Ken. Thanks. Sorry, sir.
All right. Senator George, I appreciate you talking about higher education in your introduction. I think you're the only candidate that did. And as president of the Student Association of Michigan this year, newly elected, I'd like to ask, what are your steps you're going to take to lower tuition for Michigan students? Students are graduating with over $20,000 worth of debt, and I'd like to know what some specific steps you're going to take are to lower that tuition.
Well, under Governor Granholm, university funding's been cut 15% to fuel Medicaid funding. We've got 3 college students in our family, Maria, Lauren, her older sister, and me. I just finished 2 classes online that I took at Western so I could pick up my undergraduate degree at U of M. I'm going to be graduating May 1st with the class of 2010. I don't need to tell you who the graduation speaker is. It took me 30 years, but I finished my undergraduate degree. I went to medical school after 3 years, and I never finished up, and I thought it's important to finish what you start. But the point is, and hey, when I started at U of M Flint, tuition was $300 a semester. For me to take 3 credits at Western to pick up this, $300 a credit. So there's been a big change. The money that could go to fund education has been shifted to fund social programs. So the key to fixing Michigan, to investing, be it investing in education, keeping prisoners locked up, fixing our roads, providing business tax cuts, the key to fixing the structural problem in our budget is constraining exploding social health care, social costs, including especially Medicaid and for state employees. So that's where your money has gone, and as long as that money is shifted to those social programs, there is no hope. Your tuition is going to keep going up. The tide needs to be turned. And the best way to do that is to require personal responsibility on the part of the recipients.
Senator, how did you get through medical school without getting an undergrad?
Good question. When I applied, they required 90 credits. And I applied when I was a junior, and I got in. There were 2 in my medical school class. It was very odd. Don't tell anyone, I don't have an undergraduate degree. But it does not affect my medical licensure. And a couple years ago, I said, hey, what do I need to do to finish? They said, you need 6 credits. And I'm finishing. I'm graduating, baby. Class of 2010.
Congratulations.
Who's the real nerd here?